followed by pem key and username followed by the IP address. The IP address is here. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I have logged in the server. I'll remove some of the files. rm-rf output.log output.txt and recipe.log and link 1, then output, then index.html, file1.txt, okay, and I'll remove some more. Am I audible clearly?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Output link 1, file 6, file 5, file 4. Okay, so now, okay, so I have deleted all the files. So let's discuss about the scripting, remaining part in scripting. Okay, now let's write a simple scripts by assigning a value. Okay, assigning and printing the variable. Okay, so till now we understood about $, $@, right? These things, right? And ampersand we used to run the script in background, and I will show this ampersand along with the script. Okay, and we understood about the usage of arguments, first argument, second argument, and also with $0, $, $explanatory, and $, how it works, and how do we pass an argument. See, everything we pass in terms of dollars only. Okay, now we understood about the $@, $, and $hash, right? Okay, now let's assign a variable and print the value of the variable. Okay, so how to define a variable in scripting? Let's focus on this. Okay, I'm going to write a simple script by assigning a variable. Okay, so we use in scripting variables. Okay, so variables are the name that we are providing some value of that variable. Okay, so I'm going to create a script.sh. Okay, escape insert, I'm going to write shebang /bin/bash. Okay, so this is basically the shebang. So after the shebang, I'm gonna define some variable called name. Okay, name is equals to, within a double quote, I'll give it as file. Okay, so here the variable name is name. The variable is name, and the value of the variable is file. Okay, we define variable in double quotes only. In scripting, this is very important. We define a variable value in double quote. Okay. Now, how do I print this variable? Using echo. I'm going to use echo. Given value is what? So,
Dollar.
Given value is dollar name. You were able to understand this? See, I'm defining a value. Sorry, I'm defining a variable as name. Name is equals to file. Within a double quote, I'm defining a value of this variable is file. Okay. How to call this variable? In terms of dollar. Okay. So if I given this given value is dollar name, it should print a file. So value of the name is file. You were able to understand this? Okay. I'll save this. Okay. And I'll provide a permission for chmod plus x followed by script.sh. Okay. Now I'm gonna run script. Okay. So is it printing the value is file? So you're getting my point. So the output we are getting is given value is file. That's 1 minute, please. Here I'm defining a variable as name is equals to file. Okay, that is the reason in echo I'm directly calling this variable in echo. Okay, given value as dollar name. So when I called dollar name, it should print as file, right? Similarly, if I change the value of the variable, suppose if I replace name is equals to, I'll assign different value directory. Okay, name is equals to directory. Then I'm gonna save given value is dollar name. Let's keep the same. Okay, so the given value is dollar name. So here it should print as directory. Okay, let's save this. So now this time should print the given value is directory. So are we getting this output? The given value is directory.
Yes.
Okay, so similarly we can also define any value. You can define either you can define as name is equals to the variable is name, the value of the variable is color. Let's keep this. Okay, save this and executes the script. Are we getting this? So basically we are defining a value of the variable. So you need to understand clearly script.sh. It is saying the variable is name and the value of the variable is color. Whatever the value we can provide, it should print in terms of arguments. So dollar name is an argument. We can call the variable directly in the echo statements to print an output. Clear with this, everybody? Okay, now I'm gonna give this script this way. Okay, so assigning and printing a variable. Assigning and printing a variable. Okay, so here is the script. And similarly, suppose here we are defining a variable in terms of string. Okay, so ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. Okay, how to define variable as numeric or how to define variable as numbers, right? So I'm going to write by defining a variable. Okay, let's assign some values of numeric. Okay, so how this numeric works. So till now we have defined the variable value is in terms of string only. Okay, the string define ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ variable value na. Okay, similarly we can also define variables in numeric. Okay, so how it works, let's see. So I'm going to edit with the same script. Let it be the shebang. I'm going to delete all the lines. So here I will define the variable as a is equals to 10. Similarly, I'm going to define one more, b is equals to 20. Okay, so there are two variables that I have defined in terms of numeric. Okay, now how do we add? Okay, I'm going to add these two. To add we use sum, right? To use multiplication we use multiply, and we use subtraction, we use subtraction as a string. Okay, so here I'm going to add. That is the reason I'm using sum is equals to. So what is my variable? A and b. The value of a is 10 and the value of b is 20 in this script, because I'm assigning variables in terms of numeric. Okay, you can also define numeric in terms of file size. Okay, currently there are two variables, a and b. The value of variable a is 10, the value of variable b is 20. Now let's add these two variables. To add these two variables, I'm going to add the formula dollar. Okay, I'm going to add, I'll open two braces. Okay, how do we add? A plus b, correct? Space b and close the brackets. Okay, this is the formula. Here is a formula to add the above values, right? That is the reason only we can add both the values of above two variable. Okay, now so this is the formula. How do we make use this formula? Using echo in double quotes. I'm going to add sum is what? Dollar sum, correct? Means dollar sum, the value of the dollar sum is this. It will add both the above value and it will print the sum is some value, correct? So here the script, I have defined two variables and I'm defining a formula to add the above variable and printing an output here. So here, this way we can also define the numeric variable assignment. Okay, so here we defined a numeric variable as two, a and b. A is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20, and both the values I'm going to add here, a plus b. And how do we add? Echo sum is dollar sum. The value of dollar sum will pick from here. Okay, let's run this, save and execute script. Okay, so sum is 30, correct? Cat script.sh. So 20 plus 10 is 30 only. So are we getting the value here? So it,
Yes, sir.
how this echo works? See, when we point dollar sum, it look for dollar a plus b, and this formula looks for the variable that we defined, a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20. So it will add both the value and it will print sum is equals to 20. So when echo is working, when echo is printing, sum is dollar sum.
Why
Clear?
you use two brackets there? This is the default one. We have to define like this only.
No. So basically when we're using a formula, so suppose a plus
Okay.
b or expressions we call it as in scripting. So that is the reason. That's the reason I've used two brackets. Suppose if you use one, let's see what happens. Okay, let's use only one bracket. Okay, save this. Script.sh. So line number 4 will get an error, means command not found. Basically, we are defining a numeric value here. So line number 4, it is throwing an error with line number 4. Let's do cat. Let's see what is line number 4. Line number 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Means when we defining a formula expression, we should use two brackets, two braces.
Okay.
That is the reason it is throwing an error in line number 4. Okay, we need to understand the script will directly shows an error with a particular line by defining a particular line. Means it is saying a command not found, means it is not even reading the variable, it's not even reading the formula. That is the reason it's throwing an error. This will not work.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Okay, now let's use another scenario. So there is a command in script. Okay, I'll give this first. Vi script.sh. Insert. So this is basically for numeric variable assignment. Okay. Okay, numeric variable assignment. Now let's go for third script, which is basically taking an input from the user. Okay, so how do we take an input from the user? While running the script, user should enter the value. Okay, so called taking an input from the user. Okay, for that we use a command called read in scripting. Okay, so read is a command which is used to read the input value from the user. Okay, so I'm going to write using read command. Okay, so I'll write simple script. Okay, let be the shebang read. So here I'm going to read with some value, read -p. Okay, read -p. So I'm going to put it in double quotation, enter the value. Okay, enter the value. Let's say I'll keep it as, let's close the quotes here. Let's keep city. Okay, so here basically I'm entering the value directly in the script itself. Okay, and I'm gonna print this value as echo. Okay, you entered the entered value. The entered value is what? $city. Okay, so here I'll be entering it the value as city, and I'm directly calling this read by reading this value directly. Okay, so I'm going to read this value directly as $city in terms of variable. Okay, I'm going to save this. Okay, let's execute. Okay, so we need to enter the value here. Are we getting a user input here from the scripting? Let's say, let's enter. Okay, the enter value is 3. Okay, what script is saying? Script is saying read -p will read the input from the user and prints the value of the what user has written in this value. See, basically the first line, it will read the user input and prints it in echo. That's it. That is the reason we use read command in scripting. Read -p. P represents read the multiple user here, multiple input. Okay, suppose if I run the same script. Okay, so enter the value. Suppose if I entered a file here, the entered value is 5. Are we getting this output? Similarly, if I enter directory, to give the entered value is directory. So are you guys able to understand this? Okay, here, so the variable I'm directly using read -p through this command. It is giving enter the value. So whatever the value that you enter from this command, it will read the user input and prints it in echo. So there are multiple scenarios, there are multiple commands that we work in scripting, but you need to understand one by one. Okay, and here I'm going to call this directly as a variable. Okay, now if I executes this, here I'm going to give the value as link. Okay, so the enter value is link. Okay, so this entered value will read from this read-p command and prints it in here. Okay, clear with this, everybody? So this we call it as taking an input from the user and assigning a variable. Okay, so it will read the input from the variable and assign it into the variable value to print an output. Okay, so I'm gonna give this. Okay, so taking input from user, and assigning to variable. Okay, so for this you can use this script and use read-p command to read the variable and to print the variable and pass that variable value to print an output. See, we can use either way. So there are multiple ways to print an output. There are multiple ways to define a variable and assign a value of that variable. Okay, now there is another concept in scripting. This we call it as environment variables. Okay, so what are these environment variables? Okay, so I'm gonna write a simple script for the environment variables. Okay, script will understand only in terms of dollars. Correct, that we are aware of it. Okay, I'm gonna delete these lines. Let's be the shebang. Okay, now I'm gonna write some of the environment variables. So what are those environment variables? Before running a script, I'll just save this and exit. Okay, so we know the command echo $shell. This will print the default shell, right? And these commands we call it as environment variables. Okay, this we can use in the scripting itself. So while executing the script, if it is assigning some value of the variable, we call it as environment variable. Okay, similarly, if I run echo $user, so it should give as my user. Correct, so what is my user? Ubuntu. So I have logged in as Ubuntu. Correct. Similarly, if I run this with another way, which is $home, means this should print the present home directory. Correct. So is it printing the present home directory? So if you run pwd, it should print the same value. Is it printing? Okay, so these we call it as environment variables. While executing the script, if it is taking an input while executing a script, we call it as environment variables. These are all the environments, right? Like user and directory path. So while executing a script for other automations, it uses these values. So how do we print those values from scripting? So I'm gonna write it in the script, vi script.sh, and I'll give only two values, escape insert echo, so within a double quotes. So I'll have to print the username now. Okay, the current user colon what? Dollar user, correct? So this is the only that I've used as command, right? In echo. See, in echo, I'm defining some
No need
state.
to define variables.
Current user is dollar user. What happened? Okay, so the current user is dollar user. Similarly, the current, I'm going to use one more echo. Sorry. Okay, home directory is, okay, home directory is what? Home directory is dollar home. Okay, so while executing a script, the script uses these values without defining a variable. So here I'm not defined any variable, right? So these we call it as environment variables. When the script is executing, when line number 2 is executing, this current user is, it looks for dollar user, it prints the username. And when the third line is executing, the home directory is, it look for dollar home and prints the value. This we call it as environment variables. Using environment variables, we can directly use dollar shell, echo dollar shell, or dollar user, dollar home in uppercase. Okay, let's save this and let's run the script. Script.sh. Are we getting this? So obviously we'll get, because we already ran this in a single line. So dollar home and dollar user and the dollar home, the same output only, we are getting this. Correct? Are we able to understand this? Cat script.sh.
Yes.
These we call it as environment variables. Dollar user, dollar shell, dollar home, there are dollar file. Okay, let's say I'm gonna print echo dollar file. See, this file should be defined in terms of variable, because there is no file that I've assigned this value. That is the reason it is printing an empty. Okay, but when we want to use these dollar user, dollar shell, or dollar home, these are default and the environment variables. This we can use in the script itself. Okay, I'm gonna give this script using environment variables. Using environment variables, so you can use this script to print the value. Okay, and similarly with, okay, now how do we use a command output? How do we use command output assigned to a variable? Suppose here is the command. Okay, so date is the command, right? So what we are getting when we run the date, so today's date with in terms of UTC. Today's date is December 25 and the time is in 2:15 UTC 2025. Okay, now how do we take this command output as a variable? How do we assign this command output as the value of the variable? We're able to understand what I'm saying here. Suppose if I run ls-lrt, so this I'm gonna keep as an input to the variable, the value of the variable. Okay, now if I run date command, I should give this value as a value of the variable, the output of command. Okay, the output of command assigned to a variable. How do we assign the output of a command to a variable? Let's write the script. Okay, I'll go with vi script.sh. I'll remove this. Okay, skip insert. So I'll write the direct command as date only. Okay, So I'll keep it as current date is equals to, directly I'm gonna use dollar date is a command. Okay, we know the output of date, correct? Dollar date. So I've used this command directly as the value of the variable. Okay, so here my variable is current date. The value of the variable is the output of command. You were able to understand this? The value of the variable is date. So whatever we print the UTC time, that is the value of this variable. So that is the reason we call it as assigning a variable value of the output of a command. The output of command is what? Here the command is date. The output of date command is, it will print the today's date and time in UTC, and that value is this variable value. We can add command directly, right? And now how do we print this? Okay, I'm going to use echo, and today's date is, I'm going to add today's date is what?
Dollar current date.
Yes, exactly. Dollar current date. Dollar current date. So basically the variable is current date. The value of this variable is the output of this command. That is the reason I'm going to call this current date as my output of this echo statement. Okay, let's save this, completely explanatory, and let's run the command script.sh. Are we getting this output? Today's date is this. So this value we are getting from assigning a output of a command as an input to the variable. Clear? What about others, guys? Are you able to understand Lakshmi Putra and Shabaz?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shabaz, Sanjay, Shadakshari, Shishira,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Varun, yeah, Ventesh, Viresh, Vishnu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, fine. So now, so if I do cat script.sh, so the value of this command, the output of this command will be given as the value of this variable. That is the reason I've added here as current date. Okay, so I'm gonna give this. So here I'm gonna give the significance of this script. Command output assigned to variable. Command output assigned to variable, correct? Command output assigned to a variable. So here is the command as date, and that we are reading it as a value of this variable, and that we are printing in echo statement. Similarly, we also can modify with, instead of date, I'll just modify the command. I'll replace the other command. Okay, so instead of date, I'm gonna point ls-lrt. Okay, ls-lrt. Okay, the output of this ls-lrt, is the input to this variable. Okay, input to this variable, the value of this variable is the output of ls-lrt. Okay, so instead of this current date, I'll slightly change this as status. Okay, status is equal to the value of this, the output of this ls-lrt. That I'm going to defining the variable as status. Okay, so in the next line, in the echo, so the variable that I'm saying is status. Okay, so here I'm gonna replace with status is status is what? What is the variable here?
Dollar status.
Exactly. Dollar status. Correct. Now it should print the output of ls-lrt. The status is ls-lrt. Okay. I'm going to save this and let's run the script. So are we getting the status is total 24 and the output of this ls-lrt?
Yes, sir.
So this is what we call it as the command output assigned to a variable. So that is the reason to assign the command, you should know the command, right? Without assigning, we cannot assign a value of a variable. This is very, very important, and most of the scripting professionals use this logic only. They'll not write a simple command. They'll not write a command directly in the scripting itself. They'll assign a variable value and they'll call that. They will call that variable as a value and prints it in echo statement as an automation purpose. Okay, you can build these. See, if you practice these now, if you practice these logics like a command output assigned to a variable, using environment variables, taking an input is okay. Okay, so this rarely we use. Okay, and this is just to understand the numeric variable, and this is just to understand the printing and assigning a variable, and how do we make use of that variable to print it in echo statement. Okay, and this concept is very, very important. Okay, so I'm gonna give this as well so that you will be able to understand. Okay, the output of the command output is assigned to a variable. Okay, and similarly I can also replace with ls-lrt with awk command, right? Let's write a command. So let's give some more values. Vi script.sh. Instead of, let's keep the same variable as status. Instead of this ls-lrt, I'm gonna give another command, which is to print the first column of a file. So what is the command for first column?
awk command.
Awk command. Hyphen F.
Hyphen F, open double quotes, close double quotes,
quote,
open single quote, open flower braces, print $1,
print
$1,
$1
close flower
$1,
braces,
and close the brace,
close the single
close the
quote,
quote, and followed by file name.
file
Let's keep file name as file1, and the status is let's keep the same because my variable is saying status. Okay, let's keep the same. Okay, and the status is $status. Okay, before moving it to file1 should exist to work on this command. Okay, let's save and exit. I do ls file1 is existing. Okay, now we can run the script. Script.sh. Are we getting this output? The status is, the complete status is from here to here. Are we getting the first column from the scripting?
Yes.
Similarly,
Yes,
so
sir.
if I do script.sh, we are printing this complete first column as an variable value of this variable. So here the variable is status. The value of the variable is first column of a file in terms of dollar. Now how do we call this variable? $status. The status is $status. Simple. And the value is $status. Clear with this, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna copy this. See, if you keep on working more, so you will get a lot of scenarios. So you can practice yourself, right? And you can also use multiple commands in this here, right? You can put a pipe and you can filter it out. That you have to do it from your end. Okay. Okay, and so the value of this output of command can be defined as an input for a variable, and that variable we can print it over here. Okay, so any doubts and any questions, guys? Anybody has any questions? Any
So
doubts?
here output of this command is we are assigning to the this variable, status variable. That variable we are calling, right?
Yes.
Correct. It's my
Yes.
mistake.
Dollar status. See, the status is my variable. Okay, what is the value of that variable? The variable value is the output of this command.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and this variable I'm calling it as in terms of dollar, which is dollar status. 1 minute, please.
Okay.
And here,
Today end I will say.
No, sir, by you.
but the count is very less, guys. So if you're not interested, you can walk out. No force here, but if you are here, you need to pay. Okay,
Yes, sir,
what happened? Shabas.
yes, sir, I told us.
Okay. Okay, guys, you have to do it today. Okay. So anyways, let's connect in evening for Q&A session. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Sandeep. Good day. Bye.
Thank you.